Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sida Logic. This is Mohan, your friend, and I'm one of the co-founding members of Sida Logic. And I teach data management, data infrastructure, data analytics from end to end. So stay with me. In this video, we are going to learn about ETL pipelines because this is a very hot topic these days. Many companies are looking for data professionals who do have a experience and some hands-on with ETL pipelines. So let's just get started. What is a ETL pipeline? It's simply a data pipeline. And we do have some kind of source here and where data is coming. And this data is going into some target, which is going to be our mostly database, right? So we are extracting our data from some API and we are transforming our data using Python script. We are like dumping our data into some target. This is going to be our ETL pipeline. So if you don't have any experience in ETL, or if you are somebody who is learning this particular concept for the very first time, this video is going to be very super for you. So stay with me. Let's get started. So before moving forward, let me tell you what is the data that we are extracting. So if you go on the Indian market, we do have BSE and NSE. These are just Indian stock market, and there are so many companies listed in BSE and NSE. We are going to only talk about the BSE 50, or I would say Nifty 50. Nifty 50 are the companies, is a list of companies, I would say group, which has the highest market cap. So you can see here, like there is Enterprises, Titan, Hero MotoCorp. There are so many companies, and these are 50 companies which are listed in Nifty 50 index. We are going to only talk about only these 50 companies, and this is going to help us build our ETL pipeline. So I would going to provide you this link in the URL. What you need to do, just select equity here and submit. When you do submit, it gives you a tabular data which you can download by clicking this download button. Because why we need this particular CSV file? As I've told you, we are going to use API calls for our data engineering. Just a moment, it's hanging a little. Yeah, right there. So we are going to use this BSC library, and this is a function which is called get code. It requests for script code, which I have seen. Let me show you. It's hanging superbly hanging. Yeah, right there. So we need this security codes for our stocks. When we provide that as an input to this particular like function of library, this is going to provide us data for that particular security. When I say security or instrument or share, I am talking about stock, right? Okay. So it is going to return me a key value pair, and key value pairs are going to be like a bunch of keys about that stock, like opening price, closing price, and such on. We'll see that in, like, just stay with me. Yeah. So I'm starting. What is ETL pipeline? We are going to plan it, develop, manage, and automate. This is just ETL. So there's going to be a source from where we are extracting, we are transforming, this is our problem, and finally loading our transform data into our target. Extracting data by running this Python API script of Nifty 50 stock. So once we have built this API script, whenever we execute this script, this is going to fetch the latest data from the API and going to store in our database. Let me show you how this look like. Let me run this again. Yeah, so you are seeing this is a list of companies. This is going to be 50, and if you are seeing more than 50 record, that means the first 50 records of one date, which is 24th of November. And if you go down, you will see there are now 28th of November, which is yesterday, and you will see today's data as well. So for you, I'm going to delete today's data. How I'm deleting my today's data? Basis this updated on column, and when the updated on column is 29, that means today's get date provides you today's date. So that means I have deleted just 50 records now. If I see again, see if I scroll down, so it only has 28 data up to 28th of November. Let's go back to our script. Yeah, right there. So I'm importing libraries. If you don't have this BSC data library, then don't worry about it. You can install by using pip install BSC data, which you are going to do that in your system. And I have uploaded this Excel sheet, which I have downloaded and I've shown you to my GitHub and directly reading from there. I'm going to provide links. Don't worry about it. Just stay and focus what we are doing actually. So stay with me on this video. I'm reading my data into equity DF data frame. And now this data frame is of 4,000 stocks because this contains entirely every single stock that exists in Indian market. But we really care about 50 stocks, right? Let me just show you the length of data, this equity. Yeah, right there. This is going to be more than 4,000, but we care about 50 stocks. So what I have done for you, I have created a list of 50 stocks which are part of Nifty 50, and these are the security name. That is a security code which we have seen. Let me show you again. Yeah, this one. So this is a security ID. When we do have that this data in our equity DF. So you see here in the security ID, the third column is the column that we are going to check upon. If this particular security IDs matches with this particular piece of column, then that data points are important for us and we are going to filter that out. So how I'm doing that part? I'm transforming my security code, which was this first line numeric part, yeah, into string, because the function which I have told you, get code, that accept parameter as a string. So this number needs to be converted into a string. This is how I'm doing that part, by using the as type function. The next thing which I'm doing is I'm filtering my equity DF because we do not need 4,000, we just need 50. So I'm filtering by using the isin function. You can like use any other function as well, but this is very simple and you should follow the simplest way always. And Nifty 50 is now the size of 50 only. If I let me show you how you can check always. Length of Nifty 50 is going to be 50. Yeah, right there. Why this is 50? Because I am filtering my equity DF basis security ID. And if this security ID, which was third column, present in this list, which is a list of 50 items, then only retrieving those rows of data frame. So let's move forward. And this is the BSC library which we have imported. I'm creating a BSC object. Now, of this data frame which we have created, which is of 50 stocks, we need this first column because that is the input for our function, library function. Yeah. And this library function, so I'm using for loop. I'm running it over on our security. If you want to see there how it's look like, I can show you. It's going to be a tuple, I believe. Oh, it's so much. It's 50, yeah. So I can always do that head because it is going to give me only 5. And if I want to show you, so this is what we need. And I'm going to run a for loop on this security codes. And on the security codes, I'm going to provide to our BSC object. This will return. So what this return? This is return a key value pair. Key value pair. Let me show you how it's look like. We can always check. So we need this code and then we need this code as well to tell you how it's look like. And let's just check for this. I don't know what is this 3 for. I can tell you what is this 3 for. Bajaj Finance. So this is going to provide the data for Bajaj Finance, and this is going to be stored in our this stock deck. Stock deck is the item that is returned from the API. So this is API return data, the stock deck. And what we need PD dot data frame, and in this data frame I'm going to provide this dictionary. Let me see. Yeah, we do have some error. You must pass an index. So we haven't passed any index for that. Let's just pass our index. Our index is 0. Yeah. So yeah, see, this is what we need. And this is what we are going to store in our database as well. But we'll do some cleaning. What is the steps of cleaning? You see, we really care about numbers only. So we are going to remove this cr dot lakh cr dot, and only going to store them as a numbers, because that is help us to query our to write a SQL query where we are doing any kind of aggregation using some functions that usually do not work upon string data types. So this is how you can use, and I have just shown you for only one stock, but using the for loop, we are going to do the same for every 50 stock security code and storing the same into a list. This list is of for every iteration, it gives me a pair of key value pair, and I'm appending them into a list of stock which is empty in the beginning. And this way I'm creating my Nifty 50 data frame. This is another data frame of just Nifty 50 shares. So I've just executed this. This is going to hit for at least 50 times because this is 50 in length, right? So it will going to take time, almost like 1 to 2 minutes sometimes, depends upon the API servers. And yeah, I have also included time to sleep because I really do not want BSC to block me, because they usually block all the users who have a high, like, network overload. Because every time when I'm making a API call on their server, it's creating like server issues on their network. So meanwhile, I'm just going to show you, I'm doing some data preprocessing, cleaning, and data transformation for Microsoft SQL Server. I'm renaming some of the columns as there are two rules. One rule, oh, it just got executed, and now these are 50 companies of today's data. You can see this is today's date, today's date, today's date. So Bajaj Finance was currently at this price. It was open on, let me show you. It was, it made a day, it was previously, it got closed on, it was previously open. So let's not talk about previously open, let's talk about previously closed. It closed around 7,126. It made a day high of 7,169. It made a day low of 7,150. So these are different parameters in, I'm not sure if you really require this for any analytics, but I'm going to do in the later videos financial modeling, and we are going to create some financial models, and we really need these closing price, opening price, because we are going to create some metrics, some indicators called small moving average, exponential moving average, simple moving average, and other metrics as well, like I would say RSI and different metric, which is part of fundamentals. So don't worry about it, that is the later part, but in this video we are learning more about ETL. And this piece of code is nothing but I'm just doing some transformation here. And in the first four lines, I'm just renaming my columns, because I cannot use group, as group is a like it's an identifier in the SQL, and it's a clause, right? For every group by, we need group. So you cannot use group. And 52 week size converted to 50 weeks 2 week high, just removing 52 to 52 as a in characters. And one more thing is the updated on. You can see here the updated on is not really in a date time format. So I'm converting to date time using PD to date time. What is the next thing that I'm checking upon is this is something which I have written just to check if I don't have any null values. But usually you are not going to receive any null values, so don't worry about this piece of code. Even if I don't remove this code, still my code is very fine. So there, what I'm doing, I'm renaming. So I have told you, right, what we need. We need to remove this cr dot. So we are going to use str dot replace and remove cr dot to empty string, lag to empty string, empty string, empty string, or I would say blanks. So that is what I'm doing, and also converting their numbers to numeric to numeric to numeric to numeric. Oops. Yeah, and I'm dropping because I'm changing the name to new column, which is total traded value CR. I am appending a CR in the last, LAKH in the last, LAKH CR. This is the data which I have, and there I am dropping some these columns, because now we have a new column, right? So if I execute this, you will see now we have removed CR dot LAKH dot, and I have renamed all this to new columns, right? Cool. Let's move forward. So this is the data that is going to be, so this is the data that is going to be stored in our database. And then we can always query and check. So what I'm using for dumping my data into my Microsoft SQL Server database is PyODBC connection. It's a driver, and SQLAlchemy engine. So PyODBC driver is what? This is going to connect with my SQL Server using ODBC SQL driver. You might have some other driver like driver 18 or driver 19, but depends upon your system. So you should check before running the script. Mine is driver 17 for SQL Server. You won't be having some old, although you could have a 17 or 18 or 19, but this is localhost. This is okay. One more thing which we are going to do. Let's just suppose you are doing for the very first time. So you will right click here on the database, and if you don't have SQL Server, please install SQL Server. I'm going to provide links to install SQL Server, and I'm going to provide links for this tool as well, Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio. When you install Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, automatically you are installing SQL Server as well and the drivers. So right click here and always do new database, and just use Nifty 50. which I have shown here. And once you do that part, your database do exist in your sorry, your database does exist in your SQL Server. So these are just different parameters. You need to import all this. And in case if you do not have PyODBC, again same. What you need to do, just pip install PyODBC, and it will install for you. Again, the same for SQLAlchemy as well. You need to install. If you are running Jupyter Notebook, you might not need to install because it comes pre-installed in Jupyter Notebook. But let's say if you are using it PyCharm, or you're using VS Code in local environment or any containers, so you might require to install this as a prerequisite libraries. So there you provide your server, there you provide your database, there you provide your SA and Django. This is my like connection variables which I use to connect with my database. In my connection string, just entirely copy and paste, which like it's a syntax thing, which is my like which is requires SQLAlchemy to create an engine with my SQL Server. So there I'm creating my engine, which is going to. So what is the difference between PyODBC and SQLAlchemy? Just understand, this is going to provide us a cursor, which is necessary to create and write any data into. If we are reading a data from our database, we need a cursor. If we are creating any tables or database or any other tables as well, we need this cursor. For reading data as well, we need this cursor. And why SQLAlchemy? Because for there could be multiple operation you need to do, like inserting records into a SQL database. So you can use SQLAlchemy. It's a toolkit. Think of this as a toolkit to work with SQL database, to communicate with SQL database. So there I'm creating my connection string. There I'm creating my engine. I have already provided you all these parameters, and I have written a piece of function here, which is create connection. It accept this connection string, right? And pyodbc.connect, it's a predefined like function in the library. You just need to provide the connection. It will give you like this cursor, this connection and cursor. So connection.cursor will give you cursor, and this will give you uh, connection, conn, and I'm returning all these two uh, like variables. This is connection object, this is cursor object. I'm checking now. If you are doing for the very first time, you might not be having the tables in your database, right? Because that is what is there. And if you are doing for the very first time, first thing what we are doing is we are checking if the table Nifty 50 daily data does exist or do not exist in our database. If this doesn't exist in our database, then I'm going to create a table, right? This is the create table query, and I'm executing using cursor. See cursor.execute Nifty 50 table schema. I'm committing it and I'm closing my connection. Let's say if you do have like if you are executing this script for the very first time, so this will run. But if what we are going to do eventually, we are going to automate it. And for when this script execute for the next time, you would be having this table already. So this command which will fail and will not execute, which is fine, because we really do not want to create tables again and again if the table is already there. And the next thing what we are going to do is to append our data, what we have extracted through API, which is this one. Yeah, Nifty 50 daily data. This is the daily data. This will run daily, and this data will change. So if I have run this today, you are saying 29th of November. So if I run this tomorrow, you will see tomorrow's data. And it usually updates on 4 o'clock of India. So always run this script after 4 o'clock. I would suggest 5 o'clock is the best time. So there, yeah. So I have written a code in a way. If you mistakenly execute this script twice a day, so your data is going to duplicate in your database, right? So what I'm doing from my database, like for this, let's say I can show you what is the maximum date in the updated one. So this is going to be 28th. And what is the date on which I have retrieved my data? So if we go there and see, this is going to be 29. So if my today's date of like what we have retrieved through API is higher than the date which exists in our database, then we are going to append, unless we really do not require to append our data. So this is the very same thing which I'm doing here is SQL max updated on. This is reading from SQL database, and I have used this like pd.read SQL query. It's a pandas data frame function you can use to read SQL data from your engine connection. I have provided engine connection, which is engine.begin, and there I can also check my maximum date of my data frame which I have retrieved through API script, and I'm checking both dates. If my date is not there. Let's say if my date is not there, then it's a daily data doesn't exist, and but now inserted successfully. Let's suppose if I delete the entire data, if I delete this entire data in my table, then I'm not going to have any data point in my updated on. So I will be having some none in this SQL Max updated on. If that is the, if I receive a none, then still I'm going to append my data. Else, if that is not none, then I'm going to check with my dates. If the today's date is higher than the date that does exist in my database, then I'm going to append, unless there is no required to append number data. Let's ignore this part. This is a company table which I have created, but as of now, just focus on this Nifty 50 daily data, because that is what is very much necessary to create and do anything. You can also execute this piece of code. This is nothing but the Nifty 50 table which we have filtered. I'm storing the table as a data as a table in my database. As I have given a name called Nifty 50 company data. I can show you in my database as well. So if you expand this, there is your Nifty 50 company data. So this will look something like this. This had different column names. You won't be having day high, day low, and market cap as well. So it's just a basic overview of the stock. That this stocks, you would say metadata about the stock, the issue name, security ID, if that is active, what is the face value, ISIN number is very important. Industry, this is important to categorize your stocks into different industries. Sometimes some industry is having a rally, so it will help us understand which industry is doing good at this moment or not. Later on, we are going to map them using security code, because that is common in both tables. See, both the tables have the, oh, this is the same data. Yeah, there. In which this is this column. Yeah, this column is same as this column in both tables. And this table is from where? From equity data, which we have filtered. And the first table is from where? From API, which we are calling. So both table have one thing in common, which is security code. This one, security ID, on which we have filtered it out. So let me execute this for you. So we have executed till this step so far, and these are 15 size. So as I've shown you in our database, yeah, right there, we do not have 29th data there. If you see, let me show you once more. Let me just close it. No, close it. Yeah, let's do that again. So if I show you, you go back in the last, you see the maximum date is 28th. So what would happen? This piece of code will run. This piece of code will run right there, because the data is already there. So this will not execute, because that is not a null. I'm checking with PD is null, but we know that is not null. So this will execute, and this will not execute. And this will execute because data is, we are going to have some data from our database, and it is going to check with that updated latest date. Let me execute this, and we'll see through our print statement. So connection is successful. This is the date of my SQL database. This is the date of my API script. So you can clearly see 29 is higher than 28. So that means this 29 data needs to be appended into our database, which we have done using this. I'll just show you this to SQL function, which is from SQLAlchemy, and which is from Pandas, because this is a Panda data frame, and this data frame can be used an engine to append data in our database. This engine is already created, because that is where we have created this engine. In which step we have created this engine? In the first step only. So do not worry about this, how this engine works. You just write these codes. This interacts with your data and push your data into your database. So now we can go and check. So like I'm going to execute this query once more. See, this time this has 150, because now this is going to be 29 as well. If we go down, you are seeing 29, and this is the very latest data. You can always check what's your favorite stock. Mine is, I would say, not ONGC, yeah, but let's check for SBI. If we go on our there, and if I see SBI share price, so there, if you see, it's open from, no, let's go back. It's nothing. It was open on 568. It made a high of 569. It made a low 565. So let's just check. Yeah, current value. Yeah, let's go. It made a day high of 569, which is what we are seeing here on this Google. It made a low of 565, exactly 565.05. It's almost same. and 52 week high is 629, so it's running on its 52 week low, and the 52 week low is 499, so it's in between from 52 week low to between to 52 week high. And this is what we have done now. So if I execute this script tomorrow, this is going to have another 50 records of 50 shares of tomorrow's date as well. Now we have covered how to write our ETL pipeline. So I'm just covering it again for you very fast this time. Reading our data. This is equity data, but we really care about 50 stocks. So I'm filtering my 50 stock basis this list of stocks. I'm checking with the security ID. Basis the security ID, I'm filtering my equity DF and storing Nifty 50 stocks data frame. And this is what we need, Nifty 50 stock data frame. Once we have this Nifty 50 stock data frame, what we need to do, we require a security code, which is these codes, because that is what is required to make an API call. So I'm going to delete this. This is just to show you how it feel like, how you see your data. And once you executed this piece of code, I'm using the for loop here. You will have 50 records of each date. And this is data transformation, which I have done, and finally storing the same in our database. So this is all for this video. I hope you like it, and please subscribe. We really need your support. Do let us know what is a step that you didn't understand, if there are any complexity, or if there are any extra steps that needs to be detailed explained. And I'll see you in next video. So what is the thing in next video? What we are going to do? We are going to automate it using Airflow. So this is because we have written a script at this moment. So even if I let's say I do that part again, let me have a new query. Yeah. So I'm delete from table name is Nifty 50. Yeah. Nifty 50 is going to be Nifty 50 daily data, like DBO. This is my schema, Nifty 50 daily data. So this is my database. This is my schema. This is my table, where I'm going to use where query, where cast, because I'm checking on a column. So I need to have their data type same as date, same as, yeah, cost. Get date will do give me today's date as date. I hope this should work. It's saying get date is not recognized. Get, it's not recognized. It's, I believe it should be get date SQL server. It's okay. We don't require this. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So what is going to do? This is going to delete all the records which does has updated on as today's date. So today's date is 29. So the all the 50 record which we have just inserted, this is going to delete the 50 records. See, this deleted the 50 records. And even if I refresh this, at this moment this is 150. So this is again 100. Let's just execute this script to from top to end. So I'm executing this script now from beginning. So it just executed. This is going to take 1 minute, and for that 1 minute we can, it just making an API call, this get code for each security code which we have seen. For it will do that for 50034, 50087, 500112, 500114, and so on. And then you will see this data of equity 50, Nifty 50, and this data just doing some operation and finally storing into our database. So just stay with me for next 30 seconds. That's it. And then we are going to end with this video. Meanwhile, if you haven't subscribed us, if you haven't followed us on our Instagram and on our LinkedIn, please do that part. Reach to us. Do let us know what is the thing that we can do for you in analytics, in DevOps, in data science, in machine learning, in business intelligence. We cover a lot and teach you in a simple manner. Guys, we are together, we are learning together, we are understanding together, and learning what is the most hot topics is going to benefit you in the long run. So there, see, it's again data appended successfully. If I go back and see there, and if I just refresh, execute again, so this 100 is going to be 150 because we have just inserted 150, right? Thank you.